Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be working on our fish video, animating it in Photoshop. One of the things we will be doing with it, the student will be able to create an animation in Photoshop from the fish scales PSD. And you can do this with any piece of artwork that you want. Keep that in mind. One of the things you can do now, first off, I have a project here, the fish scales. I even included a Star Destroyer in there because I'm going to try to add a little more interest into it. With that, I'm now going to go, because I don't want to damage this. This is a print-based copy. So I'm going to go File, Save As, and rename it. I'm going to go save on my computer to my fish scales folder. And I'm going to get rid of the fish scales there. I'm going to put in video to create a new file. And click Save. So it's been, you can see up here, last name, first name, the fish video here, and the 7 is just because I've done so many of them. One of the things I'm going to do right away, getting off these picture layers here, I'm just going to move them to the bottom. That's using Ctrl and Shift. Going back up to the top of the layers, I'll go right up here. Now I'm going to want to turn off my name in the bottom, just because it's in the way. I clicked on the T here, just isolate all the text layers. I'm going to just turn it off, and you see it's gone now. The layers have not been deleted, just I turned it off. So that's just to make it a little bit easier. We're going to now go to Image, Image Size, and you can choose many different types of image sizes. This is a large document. It's going to take up a lot of memory, etc. on our system. So I'm going to make it width of 10. And I'm going to make this the height 6.667 and resolution of 72. Click OK. Give it a second. It's processing all this. Now you see it when it's this small, I can do a couple things. I can do Control 0 to zoom it in, Control 0, or I can do Control minus to zoom out, Control plus to zoom in, Control 0. So anyway, we've got this done. Now, I've got some extra layers here. Once again, I'm going to start these large layers of fruit, etc. I don't need them anymore. So if you want to hide them in the background and delete them under my supervision, that's one thing. But right here, this group here, and these here, I'm just going to delete them. They're going to take up memory. We don't need them. So we've got this here, and we have our groups of the fish. I'm going to click on each one of them before I go convert them to a smart object. So I'm going to do that, confirm it's not multiple fish going on and off at the same time. And I'm going to right click on the group and convert to smart object. So that way when I turn it on and off, I know it's definitely just that one. I'm going to do the same for this one here. I will continue to do them all so that this way they will all be easily animated. Now, I'm going to open up the timeline just to cut ahead a little bit to show you some things. So we're going to go to Window, Timeline. Drop down menu on top of the menu bar, go to Window, Timeline. And it's going to give us, here's the timeline. It's kind of blank right now, nothing going on. We have multiple options here. Create video timeline or frame animation. We're going to use the video timeline. With keyframes, it will be much easier to do. And then so we've selected that, and I'm going to click on Create Video Timeline. And every layer you see here is here. Now, when I click on this group here, you can see it's highlighted over here. So that's one of the things. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to drop down arrow here. You're going to see on this one here, the smart object with the little icon here with the, it looks like a rectangle with a turn page, like a turn page where there's a square cut out of it. That's a smart object. So it's an easy way to quickly see that you're working on a smart object. So we have transform, opacity, and style. Now, I'm going to go over to the group here. When I open this up, it's going to have opacity on the top for the entire group. Then each one of them is going to have position, opacity, style, layer, mask, etc. And this one here, and I'm going to just expand this a little bit so we can see the whole thing. And you're going to see position, opacity, and style. That's generally the normal thing. And if you just go right-click and merge group, which makes sense, you think that, it will go over to, it will change it to position, opacity, and style. Unfortunately, with position, you cannot rotate your object at any time without it going all the way through on every one of them. So if you're rotating, and I'm just going to demonstrate that real quick. Bring this up a little bit. Here. Drag this down. And I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can see the actual fish here. Now, for this one, turn the fish on and off here. Here's our cute little fish. This is what we're going to be activating. The timeline indicator here, we scrub this and move it. Scrubbing is going back and forth to view your video. We don't have anything there yet. And also, it's going to indicate whether or not we have keyframes. When I put a keyframe on this fish here, I'm going to activate the keyframes or deactivate, remove them, put them in, and you see the diamond appear right here. Now that's saying this fish is active. I'm going to do it with this one too. So when I'm working with this one, the smart object, and I decide to move my fish, he's going to swim backwards for a moment. So you're going to see a keyframe appear. And then I'm going to go edit, free transform, and rotate them here. Hit enter. And there's no keyframe here yet, but yet we get one. So then I'm going to have them rotate there and then have them come up here. Another keyframe. It automatically puts it in. These are our keyframes, start and end of a major action. Even if the fish is sitting there for a moment, it's an action. So if you're going to want to have the fish sit here for a moment, you can always add another keyframe just by going here to repeat what you have. And then, so during this time period, it will not move at all. Or we could put one right next to it so that he doesn't start to turn either, or turn or anything else. So I'm now going to choose him and do a Ctrl T. That's free transform, rotate him down, hit enter. And I'm just going to move it over a little bit here, the timeline indicator over a little bit, add another keyframe to say he's just rotating right now. I'm going to move it here, so over to here, about 20, and move him down. So when you see the whole thing, and I scrub through it now, and I'm going to hit the space bar, or you can hit the play right here, you're going to see his actions. Now that's the one thing. Now if you make a mistake, which everyone's gonna, don't worry. I just want you to be able to recognize it. We're on just the merge layer. It's rasterized. There's nothing going on with it. It's not a smart object. It's just been merged. When I go here, I'm going to activate the position, opacity, and style keyframes. You see they're right here. So when I move this fish, I'm going to turn him on and off so you can see him. I'm going to move him over to here. Keyframe. Okay, great. Now, I'm going to want to have him rotate. So I'm going to do edit free transform. And rotate him a little bit. Hit enter. And you see I'm going to have to put a keyframe in. It doesn't put it in. So I put a keyframe in there, establishing the change. And then I'm just going to move my timeline indicator here and move him forward. So now, watch what happens. He was originally angled down, and now he's angled forward. So if I go once more, Control T, And I'm going to rotate them straight up just to make it very obvious. And I'll hit enter and add a keyframe. This is what's going to happen. I scrub through the video. We don't have any rotation. Now, if you make this error, don't worry about it. Just right click on the layer here and convert to Smart Object. Watch these keyframes. Convert to Smart Object, they're all deleted. And it's now converted to transform. You're starting from scratch. It's also a good way if there's bad code in there, if the animation is not doing well, convert it to a rasterized object, to a rasterized layer, and then convert it back to a smart object. It will clear up a lot of issues. So now I'm going to go here and move it over to here. And once again, I still have my fish with his activity there. So I'm going to rasterize the layer. And then I'm going to move to convert to smart object. And I'm going to hope that that clears this up. Yes, it did. Perfect. We actually want to see that, where it's an issue. So I'm going to put the keyframes in again. Now, if I decide I made a mistake, I can remove all the keyframes. Mr. Fish here is just going with the water here, or Mrs. Fish, depending upon who it is. And I'm going to go over here now, another keyframe. If I decide I don't want any of these, I can just delete them. Put them back in. And I can also select the keyframes, Ctrl Z is your friend, this way, and just move them left and right. I'm going to bring it back to the beginning here. Move my fish up. And I'm looking here. I'm going to add a special effect onto him. So I'm going to go over to the FX here. Go without a glow. And I'm going to make an outer glow here. I'm going to lower the opacity down to 0 at this moment. And then over here with the outer glow, I'll click on it. Watch the fish. And then I will raise the opacity up. Click OK. So when I scrub between the two of them, you can see it fade. It's going to come up. And then I can just continue to add effects. Whether or not I want to change the color here. Click OK. Click OK. Another keyframe. So when it goes between them, it's going to change. This is quite rapid. And then I can just eliminate it. So we have here some of the items you can utilize. Click OK. So that, now keep in mind, we're always using smart objects for this because we can rotate them. We have here, each layer we're selecting here is highlighted. When we select it here, it's highlighted here. This enables or replaces or removes the keyframes completely. This here will enable me to add a new keyframe of duplicate of what's previously there, or including also leaving time and space, leaving space for it. So if I want this fish to float up here for a period of time, I can go up to transform. And for this entire time between here and here, it will not move. Colors will change, but nothing else. Then I can move them here, and I will do Control T. And you can see, because I didn't put in a placeholder there, he's going to rotate the entire time he's moving. I'll hit Enter between here and here. If it's too close and I want to give a little more distance, I drag, select them, and move them. Now, when the first time I play this, it will be very slow. It's the blue line here, and I'm going to make sure my loop playback is selected so I can see it. It's at resolution of 50%. It's easier on the system. Doesn't mean it will look like that when we export it and render the video. So when I'm doing this now, I've got it set up. I'm going to hit play. It's going to go through. Everything's going to be a little slow. But it's going to allow it, and then you can see it's going to be faster and easier, work better. We're going to do this for all of our fish. We're going to convert them all to smart objects, and we're going to go make sure that we're using the keyframes, and we're going to be introducing some interesting things. I will get into special effects shortly. Take care. Have a good day.